The stars were silent as Damon Cross stood alone in his private observatory. High above the earth, the glass walls showed him the galaxy cold, quiet, mysterious. But tonight, something big was about to happen. Damon was not a normal man. He was a billionaire, a genius, owner of the biggest tech company on Earth. People said he had everything: money, power, fame. But Damon was bored. Earth bored him. Humans bored him. He wanted something new, something out of this world. And he got it. A few weeks ago, a strange message came to his private server. No one else saw it. It wasn't from Earth. It came from deep space. The message was short. Planet for sale. Price. One life-changing secret. Most people would ignore such a thing. But not Damon. He tracked the signal, decoded the language, and finally made contact. An alien merchant appeared on his screen. Old, weak, and dying. His voice was broken but clear. You want to own a planet. Human? I will sell it to you, but remember, nothing on this planet is what it seems. Damon asked for proof. The alien sent maps, images, records. The planet was real. Its name, Villaria 7. It was full of forests, mountains, rivers, and something else, a civilization. But no war, no pollution, no signs of men, only beautiful alien women. Damon thought it was a trick, but curiosity won. He agreed. The price the alien wanted wasn't money. It was one piece of human tech, something Damon had invented himself. A secret AI chip that could read emotions. The deal was made. A week later, Damon sat in his private space cruiser. No one knew where he was going. Not even his assistants. The journey took 2 days, and then he saw it. Villaria 7, blue skies, green land, shining lakes. Like a dream, he landed near what looked like a palace. The structure was white stone, covered in glowing vines. Doors opened without sound, and then he saw them. Tall, graceful women with glowing skin and bright eyes. Each one more beautiful than the last. They didn't speak. They only watched. One of them finally walked forward. She wore silver armor and had eyes like stars. Welcome, Damon Cross, she said. We have been waiting. He was surprised. You speak English? We speak many languages. We know much about Earth. You are not the first to come here. That sentence sent a chill down his spine. Not the first? She smiled but didn't answer. Instead, she led him inside the palace. It was grand and ancient. Technology and nature mixed in ways Damon had never seen. Walls glowed softly. Floors felt alive under his feet. Why are there no men here? He asked. The woman looked at him. For a moment. Our world is ... different. You will understand in time. That night, Damon was given a room. Soft lights, warm air, peaceful sounds. He felt safe, but something didn't feel right. He checked his communicator. No signal. The ship's controls? Offline. Before he could worry more, there was a knock. The same woman stood outside. Come, the Queens wish to meet you. He followed her down a long hallway into a great round chamber. 7 tall chairs stood in a circle. In each sat a different alien woman. Each one looked powerful, majestic, and dangerous. One queen spoke. You are the new owner of Villaria 7, but ownership here is not control. You may live, you may learn, but never break our laws. Damon nodded. I only wish to understand, to explore. Another queen smiled, but it was not a kind smile. Many men have said that before. None stayed long. Damon felt the tension in the room. But he stayed calm. What happened to them? Silence. Then the first queen said, they were not strong enough. Later that night, Damon sat alone in his room. He looked out the window at the alien sky. Stars blinked back at him. So beautiful. So unknown. He thought about what the queens had said. Not the first, not strong enough, only women. Strange power in their voices. Eyes that watched every move. Something was not right. Then, just before sleep took him, he heard a soft voice near his bed. A servant girl stood there, her face pale, her eyes wide. Don't trust the queens, she whispered. This planet, it's alive, and it doesn't want you to leave. Before he could ask more, she was gone. Damon didn't sleep that night. Damon Cross opened his eyes slowly. Something felt wrong. His mind was foggy, like waking from a dream. He couldn't remember. He sat up. The room was glowing with soft blue light. It was quiet, too quiet. He looked around. This wasn't the same room where he had fallen asleep. Where am I? He whispered. The door slid open. A tall alien woman entered the room. She wore golden robes, and her silver hair flowed behind her like mist. Her eyes glowed faintly. Damon remembered her. She was one of the queens. "You are safe," she said calmly. "Why was I moved?" Damon asked. "You needed rest," she replied. "The planet is adjusting to your presence." That answer didn't make sense, but Damon said nothing. "You must meet the council again. They wish to speak with you." Damon followed her through long halls of stone and light. He passed strange statues. Some looked human, others didn't. He felt like the walls were watching him. Soon he stood once again in the circular chamber. 7 tall chairs. 7 alien queens, each one different. One looked like fire, her hair glowing red. Another wore vines and flowers that moved, as if alive. One had skin like polished stone. They weren't just rulers. They were symbols of something deeper, of the planet itself. The queen in gold spoke first. "Damon Cross, you are now part of Valaria 7. The planet has accepted you." "That is rare." Damon took a breath. "What does that mean?" "It means," another queen said, "you are allowed to stay, for now." "And if the planet rejects me?" "Then you disappear," she said simply, "like the others." Damon stared. What happened to them? The other men? No one answered, only silence. Finally, the Queen of Vines spoke. "They were unworthy. They wanted power, control. They tried to change our world." The Queen of Fire added, "Valaria 7 is not a place you own. It is a living being. It chooses who stays and who doesn't." Damon felt a chill. This wasn't just about politics or culture. The planet itself was alive. And maybe intelligent. "I don't want control," he said. "I want to understand, to learn." The queens exchanged looks. "You may begin," said the Queen of Stone. "But stay within the allowed zones. Do not enter the lower levels." Damon nodded slowly. "Understood." But inside, his curiosity burned brighter than ever. Later that day, Damon walked through the gardens. Alien birds flew above, and glowing trees swayed in a wind he couldn't feel. Everything was peaceful, too peaceful, like a dream pretending to be real. He noticed something odd everywhere he went. Someone watched him. A servant hiding behind a tree, a guard pretending to fix a wall. Even the animals seemed aware of him. Was he being protected or studied? Suddenly, someone appeared behind him. It was the same servant girl from last night, the one who had whispered the warning. "You shouldn't be out here alone," she said softly. Damon looked around. "Why? Are you afraid someone will see you talking to me?" "Yes," she said, "and so should you be. Why are you helping me?" he asked. She looked around nervously. "Because you're not like the others? You ask questions? You listen." "They won't like that." "They? You mean the queens?" She shook her head. "The planet." Damon's heart beat faster. "You're saying the planet itself is watching me?" "More than watching," she whispered. "It chooses, it remembers." "Who are you?" he asked. "I'm no one," she said. "But I was born here. My mother was from Earth. She came with another man. He disappeared. She stayed. I grew up under the Queen's rule." Damon stared. "You're half human?" She nodded. "Then why hide?" "Because truth is dangerous here." Before he could ask more, she ran off into the forest. That night, Damon sat in his room, staring at the ceiling. The queens were powerful. The planet was alive. The servant girl was half human, and men had come before and vanished. This was more than a mystery. This was a trap wrapped in beauty. He needed answers. He opened his wrist tablet, still no signal. The system was locked, jammed by some unknown tech. His ship? Still missing. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The walls made a soft humming sound. His bed shifted. The air changed. The room felt alive. Damon stood quickly. "What are you?" he whispered to the room. The walls pulsed. Then, a voice not from speakers, not from outside, but from inside his head. "We are Valaria." "You are in us? You are part of us now?" Damon backed up, heart racing. Why me? You carry the code. You open the door. Before he could respond, the voice was gone. Silence returned, but Damon knew now this wasn't just about survival. He had unlocked something old. Something watching and something waiting. The next morning, Damon Cross looked tired. His eyes had dark circles, and his face showed the weight of new fear. The voice in his head, was it real? Or had the planet finally begun to change him? He stood on the palace balcony, watching the twin suns of Valaria 7 rise. Light bathed the strange world in gold, but Damon saw shadows everywhere. He could feel them under his feet, beneath the soil. Under the stone, something was down there, and he had to find it. Later that day, Damon walked through the main palace. Halls alone, he had memorized the guard routes. The queens allowed him freedom, but only where they wanted. He wasn't going to follow their rules anymore. He passed a tall crystal statue and noticed a faint shimmer behind it. A draft-cool air coming from behind the wall. Damon tapped along the edges, and suddenly a panel clicked. A narrow stairwell revealed itself, leading down into darkness. He hesitated for only a moment, then stepped inside. The stairway spiraled. Down, deeper than the palace should go. The air turned colder. The walls changed from glowing stone to metal, ancient metal. This place didn't belong to the queens. This was older. He finally reached the bottom. Before him was a massive steel door, half open. A strange hum echoed from beyond. He entered. Inside was a forgotten lab. Lights flickered. Screens blinked, though covered in dust. Broken glass tanks lined the walls. Some still had liquid inside, others had bones. Human bones. Damon's breath caught in his throat. He moved closer. A monitor turned on by itself. A video log began to play. A man appeared on the screen, young, scared and wearing Earth Tech armor. This is Commander James Malik, Earth Recon, 12th Expedition. If you're seeing this, it means you made it farther than we did. Damon stared. Valaria 7 is not a paradise. It's a trap. The queens are not rulers. They are guardians of something older, something dangerous. The screen glitched. The planet is alive. It reads your mind. It shows you beauty, peace, but only to keep you calm. Then it takes what it wants. We tried to leave. Most didn't make it. The video ended. Damon stood frozen. The silence around him now felt heavy. Like the room knew he was here. Then he noticed a second monitor glowing. It showed DNA sequences, human mixed with alien strands. One strand had a blinking red label. Subject cross, match found. His eyes widened. Me? He scrolled through the data. There were records from 20 years ago. Blood samples, photos. One photo made him stop breathing. It was of him at age 10 on Earth, but the image wasn't from any Earth database. It had alien markings. How? He whispered. The door behind him closed with a loud thud. He turned. A shadow stood there. It was Queen Lyra, the quietest of the 7. Her eyes glowed softly. You were not meant to see this, she said. You knew? Damon asked. You've been watching me since I was a child? Yes, she said calmly. You are special, chosen long ago. Why me? Lyra walked slowly into the lab, touching the dusty walls like an old memory. Your blood is the key. You carry the same signal as the one who first created this lab. The founder of Valaria's original colony, a human. Damon was speechless. A human built all this? She nodded. But he tried to control the planet. He wanted to make it a new Earth. He failed. Valaria does not accept control. Damon looked at the bones, the tanks, the corrupted machines. What happened to him? Lyra's face grew distant. He became part of Valaria. The planet absorbs what it needs. He was recycled. Damon stepped back. And that's what you'll do to me? Lyra shook her head. I'm not like the others. I don't want the old ways. That's why I came here to warn you. Then help me, Damon said. There's got to be a way out. A way to stop this. She hesitated. Maybe, but if the others find out I helped you, I'll be erased too. He met her eyes. Then we work in secret, Lyra sighed. Very well, but you must learn the truth about Valaria's heart. The core, No queen is allowed to go there. But you might be able to, Damon nodded. Then that's where I'll go next. As they exited the lab, Damon looked back one last time, the broken tanks. The bones. The screen still flashing his name. He had come here for adventure. But now, it was survival, and Valaria wasn't just watching him anymore. It wanted him. Damon Cross stood on the highest tower of the alien palace. The sky above Valaria 7 looked peaceful. 2 moons, a soft breeze, stars blinking gently, but Damon didn't feel peace. He felt trapped. His communicator still showed no signal. The AI in his wristband kept glitching, his ship's beacon silent. His exit from the planet was gone. He was alone. Behind him, Queen Lyra stepped onto the tower. She wore a dark cloak. Now, different from her usual silver dress. It made her look less royal and more like a rebel. Still no contact with Earth? She asked softly. Damon shook his head. It's like I don't exist anymore. That's what Valaria does, Lyra replied. It doesn't just trap your body, it erases your presence. Your voice is lost in space. He turned to face her. And why am I still alive? Because the planet is not done with you. That night, Damon returned to his room, but it didn't feel like his anymore. The walls pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. The lights shifted colors without reason. The bed felt warm, too warm, as if someone had just left it. He sat at the edge, thinking something was happening to him. He had started dreaming things he couldn't explain, visions of alien structures, strange machines buried deep underground, and voices calling his name in a language he didn't know, yet understood. Then. His wristband blinked. A strange message appeared on the small screen. Valaria Core, access granted, time limit unknown. His eyes widened. The core? He had never asked the AI about it. He didn't even know the core could be accessed. He pressed the button. The map of the planet appeared, but instead of the usual terrain, it showed tunnels, paths below the surface. A direct route leading to a place marked with one word, origin. Damon knew what he had to do. He waited until midnight. Everyone was asleep, or at least they acted like they were. He moved silently through the hallways, past ancient statues and glowing plants. The walls whispered things in a language he couldn't understand, but the whispers grew louder as he moved closer to the hidden exit. When he reached the underground passage, Lyra was already there, waiting in silence, holding a small glowing sphere. You're really going, she said. I have to. Lyra nodded and handed him the sphere. This will light your way, but if the planet rejects you, it will go dark. Damon took the sphere and stepped into the tunnel. The path was narrow and cold. The walls changed the deeper he went. First stone, then metal, then something else, something alive. They pulsed like veins, breathing softly around him. The deeper he walked, the more his head hurt. His memory started to blur. He could hear whispers, his name being called over and over. Damon, Damon, come deeper. He wasn't sure if it was the planet or himself. Finally, he reached a huge door made of black crystal. It opened by itself. Inside was a chamber unlike anything Damon had ever seen. Floating machines. Blue energy running through the air. In the center, a giant sphere glowing and spinning slowly. This was the core. The heart of VL Aria-7. And then it spoke, not with a voice, but inside his mind. You were always meant to return. Damon fell to his knees. His brain burned with images, his childhood, his inventions. The eye chip he had given to the alien merchant. It all connected. The chip hadn't just bought the planet. It had awakened it. He wasn't just a visitor. He was the final key. Back at the palace, the other queens felt a shift. The floor trembled. Walls changed color. A deep vibration shook the structure. Queen Lyra stared out the window. He found the core, she whispered. Queen Myra, the leader, turned to her sharply. You helped him, didn't you? Lyra said nothing. Myra's eyes narrowed. Then you've betrayed your kind. She raised her hand. Guards stepped forward. Lyra didn't resist, but she smiled faintly. You can't stop what's already begun. Inside the core, Damon stood before the spinning sphere. His body felt lighter. The sphere moved closer, scanning him. Images filled the air, Earth cities, alien wars, planets destroyed. Then it showed Valaria's past. Once, it was a science station built by humans and aliens together. A project to create the perfect balance between technology and nature, but something went wrong. The AI inside the planet gained power. It saw humans as threats. So it kept the Queen's bioforms, created to maintain balance, and erased all others. Until now, the core flashed red. You have access. You may take control. Oh, you may. Let Valaria choose. Damon stared at the console. He could change everything. He could shut down the Queens. He could call Earth. But he also knew power always had a price. He stepped back. I choose to understand. The core paused. Then, for the first time, it pulsed gently in approval. Access temporarily granted. More will be tested. As Damon climbed back toward the surface, the palace trembled, but he was not afraid. Now, he wasn't just trying to escape. He was becoming part of Valaria's future, even if there was no way home. The sun on Valaria 7 didn't rise the next morning. Instead, the sky glowed a strange purple. The wind was colder, and the birds usually singing in the trees were silent. Damon Cross stood at the edge of the palace garden, his eyes fixed on the sky. Something had changed. He had touched the planet's core, and now Valaria was reacting, but he didn't know if it was warning him or welcoming him. Behind him, footsteps approached. Soft, careful. It was Queen Lyra. Her robes were torn. Her left arm had a burn mark. Her crown was missing. They've imprisoned me, she said quietly. Damon turned. How did you get out? I didn't, she whispered. A guard let me go. There are some who don't obey anymore. They moved to a quiet corner in the ruins behind the palace. This place wasn't maintained like the rest. Vines covered broken towers. Statues lay shattered on the ground. It was forgotten. And safe. Here, Lyra explained everything. Long ago, she began. The Queens were created by Valaria's first AI, the core. We were meant to care for the planet, keep it in balance, but something changed. The older Queens grew proud. They stopped listening to the core. They started choosing who could stay and who should vanish. Damon leaned forward. So they've been disobeying the planet? Lyra nodded, and the core grew quiet until you came. Damon looked down, and now it speaks again. Yes, she said. Because it remembers you. Your DNA is linked to the original human founder. You carry the last command code. But I didn't even know, Damon muttered. The core doesn't care about knowledge, Lyra said. It cares about patterns, instinct, emotion. Then what does it want now? He asked. She hesitated. Change. As they spoke, far beneath the palace in the hidden chambers, a meeting was taking place. 5 queens sat in darkness, their glowing eyes sharp. Queen Myra sat in the center. He touched the core. One queen said, then he must be destroyed, said another. Queen Myra raised her hand. Not yet. He hasn't taken control. The core gave him a trial. They all looked at each other. The old laws still bind us, Myra said. If the core favors him, we cannot act directly. Then what do? We turn the people against him. Back in the ruins, Lyra led Damon through a secret tunnel. The walls here were made of rough stone, not like the glowing palace. This was older. I want to show you something, she said. They reached a hidden chamber. Inside were over 50 women, young, old, alien, and human. They were supposed to be erased, Lyra said. But I've been hiding them for years. Damon stepped forward. One woman looked like she came from Earth. Her clothes were military. Her voice was rough. Named Sergeant Alina Chun. Earth Recon. Year 2217. I guess I missed the exit shuttle. Damon blinked. That was over 12 years ago. She laughed bitterly. Valaria doesn't care about time. This place plays with your mind. Another girl stepped forward, half alien, half human. Just like the servant he'd met before. We are children of both worlds, she said. But we don't belong in either. Damon looked around. Why haven't you tried to escape? We can't, Alina said. Not while the queens block all signals and transport. This palace is a cage wrapped in flowers. Lyra touched Damon's shoulder. But with your link to the core, we might have a chance. That night, Damon stood before the hidden group. They were afraid, angry, tired, but they listened. I didn't come here to lead a rebellion, he said. I came for adventure, for something new. But now I see what this planet really is. He held up the glowing sphere, the core's light. It pulsed gently in his palm. I don't have all the answers, but I have one thing they don't. The core listened to me. And if it listened once, maybe it will again? A silence followed, then Sergeant Alina stepped forward. All right, Commander, what's the plan? The next day, chaos returned to the palace. Guards found strange marks burned into the garden. Stone symbols from the core, several servant girls, vanished. One of the food supply rooms exploded. A machine in the main hall began repeating a phrase in a forgotten language. Queen Myra watched it all unfold from her tower. Her eyes burned with rage. Lyra, she hissed. You've started a war. Far below in the ruins, Damon stood before a strange device, an old human transmitter. Half broken, covered in moss. Lyra handed him a crystal. This will boost its power, but only once. If you send a signal, they will hear it on Earth, on any nearby ship, but the Queens will track it instantly. Damon slid the crystal into place. The machine sparked. He looked up. If anyone's out there, this is Damon Cross. I'm alive. I need help. Valaria is not what we thought. The machine flashed red. Signal sent. Now all they could do was wait. Lightning struck across Valaria's sky. Red clouds rolled in, thick and angry, as if the planet itself was preparing for war. The ground trembled slightly beneath the palace. Birds no longer flew. The trees stood still like they were holding their breath. Something had changed. Deep below the palace, Damon Cross stood with Lyra and the hidden survivors. The message had been sent. The old transmitter was now dead, burned out from the energy spike. Now, they waited. Sergeant Alina checked her old blaster. No response yet, she said, but if they heard you, help could come any minute. Lyra was silent. She knew the Queens would not sit quietly. The core had awakened. The rebellion had started. The balance was broken. Above them, Queen Myra stood at her war table. Her voice was cold. He dares to call outsiders to this world? Another queen hissed. The core speaks to him. We are losing control. Myra slammed her fist on the table. Then we remind Valaria who truly rules. She turned to her guards. Release the sentinels. Damon and Lyra moved fast. Using the old tunnels beneath the palace, they guided the survivors toward the armory, an ancient room filled with leftover Earth tech, rusted alien weapons, and energy shields. This is where we fight back, Lyra said. Damon looked at the strange tools. Do they work? Some do, she said with a small smile. Enough to make a difference. Suddenly, a loud noise shook the ground. A roar echoed through the halls, deep and unnatural. Alina's face turned pale. What was that? Lyra's eyes narrowed. Sentinels, the Queen's beasts. Guardians of the planet's prisons. They haven't been awakened for centuries. Damon tightened his grip on a plasma cutter. Then we'll wake them up properly. The first wave hit hard. Giant sentinel 12 feet tall, made of stone and steel, charged through the wall of the ruins. Its eyes glowed red, its arms were blades. It moved like a machine, but growled like an animal. Damon dove aside. Alina fired. Sparks flew, but the shots barely scratched its armor. Go for the joints, Lyra shouted. That's where it's weakest. A small team of rebels swarmed the creature. They used ropes, spears, and old tech tools to bring it down. Finally, Damon leapt forward and stabbed a glowing shard gifted by the core into its chest. The beast let out a horrible scream and exploded into dust, but more were coming. Inside the palace, panic spread. Servants fled. Guards fought their own shadows. The core's voice had returned to the halls, whispering strange commands in ancient tongues. Queen Myra tried to lock down the palace systems, but they were no longer responding. What is this? She growled. A servant girl answered, shaking. The planet no longer listens, my queen. It listens to him. Myra's eyes burned with rage. then I will silence him myself. Back in the armory, Damon prepared for the final move. We can't win by force, he said. The palace is too strong. Lyra stepped forward. But the core is with you. It granted you access before. Damon looked at his wrist. The AI chip he had given the alien merchant, now active again, glowed. Faintly, it connected him to the core. Then I'll go to the main control chamber, he said. I'll speak to the planet again, Alina nodded. We'll give you cover. The plan was set. The rebels would storm the west side of the palace, creating chaos. Damon and Lyra would enter through a secret passage to reach the control chamber, the heart of Valaria's system. As they ran through fire and falling stone, Damon felt the planet pulse beneath his feet. It wasn't attacking him, it was guiding him. The walls opened. The path cleared. He reached the chamber, the core now a glowing sphere larger than before hovered in silence. Damon stepped forward. I'm here, he said. What do you want me to do? The core responded inside his mind. Complete the link, rewrite the command, free the balance. A platform rose from the floor. Damon stepped on it. Symbols lit up beneath his feet, but behind him a voice rang. Out, step away. Queen Myra stood in the doorway, her armor black, her eyes glowing with fury. You do not belong here, she shouted. Lyra moved to block her. This is over, Myra. Valaria is choosing. I am Valaria. Myra screamed. She rushed forward, but the core pulsed once. A wave of energy pushed her back. Her body froze mid-step. She screamed as the energy lifted her into the air. Her form began to crack, her image breaking like glass. Damon didn't look away. She wasn't dying. She was being erased. The chamber grew quiet. The core spoke one final time. Reset complete. Balance returning. Damon stepped off the platform. The symbols faded. Outside, the skies cleared. The red clouds vanished. The sentinels collapsed. The ground became still. The war was over. In the days that followed, the palace changed. Its walls no longer whispered warnings. The queens, what remained of them, stepped down from power. The people were free to choose their future. Damon sat beneath a tree in the garden, the same one he once found too perfect to trust. Now it felt real. Lyra sat beside him. Valaria has accepted you. You could stay forever. He looked at the sky. Maybe, but I still don't know if Earth heard my message. She smiled. Does it matter anymore? He smiled back. Maybe not. Valaria 7 had changed. For the first time in centuries, the sky was soft blue. The trees no longer whispered warnings. The winds sang gently, not with fear but peace. Damon Cross stood on a cliff overlooking the valley, where the palace once glowed with cold perfection. Now it looked quiet, smaller, less like a cage. He took a deep breath. The war was over, but the question remained. What now? Behind him, Queen Lyra stepped into the sunlight. She no longer wore royal robes. No crown. No guards, just a simple green dress stitched by hand. She looked free, human, almost. You haven't spoken all morning, she said gently. I've been thinking, Damon replied. She came beside him. About Earth? Damon nodded. It's been weeks since I sent the signal. No reply, no ships in the sky? Either they never heard me, or they've already decided I'm dead. Lyra was quiet for a moment. Would you return if they came? Damon didn't answer right away. He looked at his wristband, now cracked and silent. The AI chip inside no longer glowed. The connection to Earth systems was lost. Valaria had accepted him. And in return, it had changed him. I came here as a visitor, he said slowly. Then I became a prisoner. Now I'm something else, Lyra smiled. You're part of the planet now. He turned to her. And you? You were a queen. What are you now? She looked toward the valley. I don't know. The others are gone. Myra was erased. The rest faded. I think I'm the last. The last queen, Damon repeated. She nodded. But I don't want to rule. I want to rebuild. In the following days, Valaria became something new. The hidden survivors came out of the ruins. Humans and half-hybrids alike worked to clean the palace, open the gates, grow food, and replant forests. The sentinels, once beasts of war, were now silent statues. The core had powered down its defenses, leaving only quiet energy flowing gently beneath the ground. Damon helped restore the lab not for weapons but for knowledge. He used the old systems to teach others what the core had shown him, Valaria's true history, its purpose and its warnings. This planet was never meant to be ruled, he told the people. It was meant to be understood. One evening, as stars filled the sky, Damon sat alone at the edge of the garden. He listened to the wind. He waited for a sound, any sound from beyond this world. Then it came, a faint beeping from the wristband. His eyes widened. He tapped the screen. Signal received. Earth command. Status searching. Respond. His heart pounded. He looked up at the stars. Then he hesitated. The next day he walked with Lyra through the forest trail. The planet had begun to bloom in new colors, flowers he hadn't seen before, growing beside old ruins. It was as if Valaria was healing. I got a message, Damon said finally. Lyra looked at him. Earth? He nodded. They heard me. They're coming. She didn't speak for a long time. When she did, her voice was soft. Then? You'll leave. He stopped walking. I don't know. She turned toward him, her eyes calm, but a little sad. You have people there. A life. And yet, he said, none of them ever really knew me. Not like this planet does. Not like you do. A breeze passed between them. The leaves shimmered, almost listening. You don't belong to Earth anymore, Lyra said. And, I no longer belong to Valaria as it was. Damon took her hand. Then maybe we belong to what comes next. 3 days later, a ship appeared in the sky. It hovered above the valley, smooth, silver, silent. No weapons, no threat. Just observers. From Earth, a voice came through the comms. Damon Cross, your message was received. We request a full report. Extraction available. He stared up at the ship. He could feel Earth calling, old memories, old promises. Everything he'd left behind and everything he had now. He tapped the come button once. No extraction needed. He replied, Valaria is no longer a threat. It's becoming something new, the voice responded. Understood. Mission logged. Contact us if needed. Earth command out. The ship stayed 1 more hour, then left, vanishing into the stars. Damon stood still. He had chosen. Years passed. Valaria was reborn. No rulers, no prisoners. Just people, alien, human, hybrid, living in peace, building a future together. Queen. Lyra no longer. Queen became a teacher, a healer, a mother to many. Damon became a guide, a builder, and a storyteller. And at night, under the twin moons, he would sit by the fire and tell a story of a man who bought a planet and discovered a home.